Alright guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. Before we get into it, I want to make sure that I'm giving you this announcement. We're going to be doing a full-on holiday sale for a limited time, 50% off all of my programs and my courses from my mentorship course. So make sure you take advantage of it. Click the link in the description to find out more details. Happy holidays. Now let's get into the video. Alright, what's going on guys? Phil Daru back again with another video. Now today I'm going to be talking about and going through a bodyweight workout for lactic power for boxing performance. Now I know you've probably seen my MMA bodyweight workout. It's got a lot of hits, so I wanted to give you guys the boxing style for this one. Now today we're going to be working through the lactic power intervals. What that's basically going to do from an objective standpoint, we want to try to do this more off camp because again it is very physically taxing, all right, physiologically taxing, right? We want to do this to train and develop at higher levels of that lactate production, which is a vital starting point for the ability to repeat bouts of intensity for a long duration or repeated sprint efforts. Now that's the fight game. I've talked about this plenty of times in the past. So we want to make sure that we have that strength, we have that ability, we have that power production for the entire time of the fight, right? Increasing the ability of the athlete to start fast, right? We want to make sure that they're dominant from the start of the bell to the finish of the fight, all right? Again, the focus points, we want to do this about 3 to 4 weeks, right? We want to make sure this is off camp, and if we need to do this periodically throughout the year because it's something that the fighter or the athlete is lacking, that's something that we can do from a concurrent approach or perspective, right? All right, so what we're going to be doing, right? The intensity is going to be very high, all right, but the volume is going to be medium, okay? So we're not going to go super long volume, and we're not going to go super high intensity to the point of where we cannot sustain efficient movement. All right, we're going to accumulate that lactate from about 30 seconds, and then we're going to get a large break in between. But the volume while we're doing the training is going to be very efficient, but also consecutive. Okay, we want to make sure that the rest intervals, right? We have longer rest intervals so that the body has the ability to recover, and then we can repeat those higher intensities. And for that longer duration of the high intensity, right? Don't get it confused with alactic. We're talking about lactic, so we have to do a little bit more with that time frame that we have, but I am gonna give you an adequate amount of time to rest so that we can repeat it again, all right? We are going to be using base strength bodyweight exercises to increase that lactic buildup in the working tissue, all right? So I'm gonna go through a full body approach because again, in boxing, we need to make sure that our hips, our legs are strong. We have the endurance there so that we can produce force from the ground up. And then we also have to make sure that our shoulders, our arms, and our back have the ability to sustain punching output, but also keep our hands up. So that's gonna be another thing that we're gonna be working on, all right? We're gonna work through a 1-to-8 work to rest ratio, all right? So basically we're gonna go 30 seconds of work, followed by 4 minutes of passive and active recovery. So we're gonna do 2 minutes of passive recovery right after the work, and then we're gonna go into some active recovery, doing some shadow boxing for 2 minutes, then right back into that high intensity set, all right? We're gonna do 4 rounds total, all right? And we're gonna do this 2 times per week. You know, preferably you wanna make sure that you distance them apart about 72 hours. So you can do one on Monday and one on Thursday, or one on Tuesday, one on Friday, whatever the case, depending on your schedule of training, all right? Again, you want to work in at 85 to even 90% of your maximal heart rate because we have to increase that lactic buildup. So we have to get up in those threshold zones, all right? After those working sets, we want to make sure that we're bringing our heart rate down into that zone 2 range, roughly about 70%, maybe even 65% there of their maximal heart rate. Make sure that you're nasal breathing when you recover, right? We're increasing the nasal cavity, we're increasing the diaphragmatic breathing, and bringing down the heart rate, getting that parasympathetic response back up. And then we're also making sure that we're staying technical even when we're slightly fatigued. So I want to make sure even, you know, with our strikes and with the shadow boxing, everything is technical. You're still working through your movements. And also you could throw in some accommodated resistance with the bands. I've done some videos on that. You can check it out. But again, we're going to go through the warm up. We're going to do that, get the heart rate up a little bit, and then we're going to get right after it. All right, let's do this. guys, so we just finished up the dynamic warm-up. We went into the tissue temperature, then increased all the way up to the nervous system response with the plyometrics. Now we're gonna get into the protocol. So we're first gonna work through the lower body, then we're gonna go up into the upper body, and then we're gonna switch it on and off, right? Because we got 4 rounds, so we'll go 2 and 2. So for the first one, we're gonna go ahead and do split jump squats. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna jump up, switch my stance, work into each individual leg. I'm gonna jump up, turn, or just switch my legs up there. I'm gonna do as many reps as I possibly can in 30 seconds, making sure that I'm explosive as I can. So I'm getting up, as high as I can, and then I'm also repeating it, right? The next set, we're gonna be going and doing Spider-Man push-ups. So I'm gonna go do a push-up, and I'm gonna drive my leg up into my hand, right, where my hand is, and I'm gonna just go back and forth with that. Again, we wanna make sure that we're explosive with the movement and we're getting a lot of volume in there because, again, we have to accumulate that lactic. All right, let's make it happen. Okay guys, so now into the active recovery, trying to bring down my heart rate. I'm trying to slow down my breathing. Only trying to nasal breathe in through my nose, and then I can blow out through my mouth. After the 2 minutes, I want to make sure when I'm doing my passive recovery, I'm only nasal breathing. All right, so here we go. So we just finished round 2 with Spider-Man push-up, right? As I come down, I'm not letting my foot touch the ground. I'm bringing my knee up. I'm turning my hip out, getting an oblique crunch, or at least driving it up with my obliques, right? And then I'm also with my hip flexors, and then bringing it back down. And I'm trying to do as many reps as I possibly can and keeping it as explosive as I possibly can. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do a passive recovery and then go into my active recovery again. Okay, going into round 3, right? We did skater bounds, back and forth. The goal here is to make sure you load the hip, absorb, and then redirect force. It's gonna be really good to help you when you're trying to get in and out of the pocket. We have the ability to change direction, right? Now I'm gonna do my 2-minute passive into my active, then on to round 4. All right guys, so that's 4 rounds total. You wanna do 2 sets through of that. Again, make sure that you're doing your passive and active recovery. Make sure when you're doing your active recovery, make sure you're staying technically efficient, making sure that you're keeping your shadow boxing, crisp, and making sure that your punches are all the way out and just landing out your shots and making sure that you're moving your feet too as well. You wanna do 2 sets total, so that's 8 rounds of everything. You're just gonna basically repeat what you did. Like I said, I went lower, upper, and just repeat that 2 times. You can also linear progress from there, getting closer to camp. So let's say, for instance, if you're starting it, somewhere around 14 weeks out, you can progress all the way to 8 weeks out. Then you want to work into your lactic capacity work, which is going to be longer duration, less rest that you're going to get there as well. Again, make sure if you're going to do it inside of camp, make sure you're managing your fatigue. And if you're going to be doing it inside that training week, make sure you're doing it away from your sparring sessions. Again, if you have any more questions, I'm sure you'll do. Hit the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe, make sure it's a notification. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that like button. I'll see you again next time. Peace.